Hello. Hey, we're wrapping up the week. We're getting to the end of the week. I hope you've had a great week. I appreciate you stopping by. I appreciate you giving me some of your time. If you've been tracking me this week, I've been doing a video series on Dr. Torsten Slok's Housing Outlook, March 2025, and it's been fantastic. Today is day 5 of 6. Each day has gotten shorter. Thank you if you've checked any of them out. I just think he does such important work. And I think his monthly outlook, which usually is around 125 slides, which you can get high resolution slides from him. Just go to his website. I'll give you the link below later. Go use them in your homebuyer seminars, use them in your sales presentations, use them in your sales meetings, use them out at lunch and learns, use them to help, rise financial literacy, educate people on the market. Today we're going to talk about just the overall housing outlook, and we're going to look at new versus existing homes. And so we're going to look at some pretty interesting data. When we look at the housing outlook, we're going to look at the median distance people move from when they move from one home to another. We're going to look at home improvement spending, which is a big change in home improvement spending. We're going to look at where builders are building houses. We're going to look at house price, new versus existing. We're going to look at some forecasts on housing, on home sales, as well as some forecasts on new home construction. We have a whole bunch of stuff to look at, and to do it, we're going to just use the report from Apollo and go through some slides, which I think have been great. So I'm going to do a screen share right here. You can see we are at the housing outlook. There's 2 different sections we're doing today. They're both really short, so I combined them. Housing outlook, we can go here. New foreclosures by age of homeowners. This is really irrelevant. So as you can see, there's virtually none, but something to keep an eye on. Housing construction remains high. As we know, builders have done a wonderful job about shrinking the size of houses, shrinking the size of lots, shrinking the size of amenities to offset inflating costs like labor, construction goods, all those things to be able to still give a competitive product. Now you can see that some of the costs, the actual materials have come down. That's under jeopardy. That big spike you saw there was lumber, a spike in lumber as well as other materials. It came back down, but now we're starting to edge back up. We don't really care about Manhattan median rents. Rising mortgage rates generally. This is a really interesting dot plot map of how mortgage rates generally associated with lower home price inflation. It's an interesting thing you can study. It's not surprising. The higher the mortgage rate, the higher the price inflation. This is where it starts getting interesting. And I really like looking at it by year. This is median distance between homes that recent buyers purchased and homes they moved from. Now, here's why it's really interesting. If you look at the tail end of the pandemic year, the 2020-22, that's when everybody in 2020 and 2021, people earned a lot more money, and people also got a lot of tax credits, and they got distribution from the government. Most people got a check, so they had excess cash, and for the first time, they were working at home full time. And they said, "Hey, I don't have to work here in downtown Detroit. I can go live in the mountains in Colorado and still do my job. It doesn't matter where I live. I can move from a city to a lower cost rural neighborhood, much nicer, lower crime. I can get a bigger house. I might have a better school system because I'm working from home. Who cares?" And so people started to move further away from home. As you can see, they went from, on average, moving about 20 miles to moving over 50 miles. And so that was a huge change. Prior to that, people mostly moved but stayed within county. In 2022, they moved out of county and oftentimes out of state. Well, now as we get back to 2023 and 2024, we have an affordability issue, but we also have companies going return to office, and that's shrinking the distance that people are willing to move between houses. Home improvement spending, this is another really interesting thing. Notice how home improvement spending as a share of disposable income is rising. And what makes this even more important is disposable income is rising faster than inflation. And so you can see that we're starting to spend almost 2% of our disposable income on home improvements. And what that speaks to is people are starting to go, look, I can't find the home of my dreams, so I'm going to make the home I own the home of my dreams. And that's what you're starting to see here. And so that's predicted to go on. And it came up in the Home Depot quarterly stockholders report. They just see home renovations continuing to increase as people continue to improve their houses versus moving. Here's metropolitan areas that need to build more homes to keep up with increased demand. This is pretty obvious, but this chart right here, if you were an investor, like you personally were an investor, if you were advising investors, you'd advise them where there's a housing shortage to go buy houses. Go buy a small single-family residence in Syracuse, New York. I mean, you're going to get a really good cap rate on that. Or even Anchorage, Alaska. All these places, you can really get some signals on where to invest as an investor. All right, so that was the housing outlook. I told you it was going to be short. This is why I combined two together. This is going to be new versus existing homes. This is just great data, especially if we do builder presentations. I've talked about this quite a bit. You saw that last year, historically, existing new homes sell for about 50 bips higher than an existing home traditionally. Last year, for the first time, new homes actually sold for the same as an existing home. They actually sold for less. Now it's pretty touch and go. They're going in and out. Sometimes it's existing homes. Sometimes it's new homes. Now, if you actually looked at the average sales prices, there's a much bigger disparity. But very interesting that builders have done a great job trying to solve some of the affordability issues. All right, privately owned housing units under construction are coming down. That's custom homes, custom spec homes are coming down. Consensus is forecasting for a modest rebound in home sales. I would say that is indeed modest, that 23, 24, 25, 26. That's a pretty flat slope if you were to look at it. We could definitely use a little more accelerated slope, but so be it. Share of newly built homes for sale. I really like looking at this. So about 30% of about 30% of homes for sale today are new construction. That's what this is showing. We have 2 slides for it. So that's it. I told you it's going to be pretty short today. We will look through the housing outlook. We definitely look through new versus existing. Some really good data, especially if you're doing builder presentations. Any type of presentation, I really strongly encourage you guys to subscribe to Dr. Torsten Slok daily newsletter. The Daily Spark is short, easy to read, has a little chart, really good. A few times a month, he has outlooks like this. I know he has them on housing, he has them on inflation, he has, I think, a GDP, a couple other things. I will put a link to the PDF below. I also, every day, have been doing a post on LinkedIn summarizing this information and giving links to Dr. Torsten Slok's total material. Check out my LinkedIn if you get a chance. We are 5 days through this 6-day series. I hope you're liking it. I hope you're getting a lot out of it. Show up for tomorrow. It's the last one. It's a short one. I can't wait to talk to you again soon. Thanks. Have a great day.